There's a Plan A, there's a Plan B for Whiting Aviation Park. Plan A is to get the limited access agreement through the Navy to give us access to that runway. Plan B is to build the infrastructure in that park, build helicopter pads. So we can fly helicopters into that Whiting Aviation Park without having to have access to a runway.
Still pushing the Aviation Commerce Park, and the agreement is still under review by the Commander of Navy Region Southeast. I really would want to have this approved by the end of the year, but because of the, I guess the workload plus the number of off days that we now have for this month, it may not be doable, but we're still going to push.
Well, that's all very interesting. I find it fun. It's funny to me that we said we had it in the bag 4 years ago, and we've played and we've played and we've played and we've played. Now, I'm going to tell you personally, my 2 cents worth in it. Whiting Field as a training facility is the busiest airport in the United States of America.
Right.
And I am very reluctant to let anyone interfere with that mission. I am not picking on Commissioner Salter. I'm not picking on his aviation park. When you start cutting holes in a fence in the busiest military airport in the United States of America, I really, honestly, I have a problem with that.
Well, the Navy is not going to let them use it if it's going to interfere with the mission at all. If they get it, it's because it's not interfering with the mission.
Well, if it's good weather, and look, I live near Whiting Field. If it's good weather, they're flying 18 hours a day. They're running day missions, night mission training, helicopters coming in and out of there. All kind of training is going on. The only time they're not flying is when the weather's bad. And if the weather's bad, other aviation interests can't use it. So.
And now the purchase of that property for that park was premised on using the runway, joint use of the runway.
Yes.
But we also heard that there's a plan in place for, in case
Plan B.
Plan B, in case that doesn't happen, that the thought is that aerospace industry will still be able to use the park to some extent.
Well, at least the state legislature was wise last year and didn't give them another $3 million to throw away in that aviation park, and we'll leave it at that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next one here I have to love. Our leaders are actually complaining about the process of stormwater management.
In case you're not aware, the biggest impediment we have today to a company coming in here and getting a quick turnaround on a capital project is the Northwest Florida Water Management District. Stormwater permitting for any construction project in this area has become a long, drawn-out process. Be aware, in all of your dealings, both with your public hat on and your private sector hats, that is an impediment. Permitting at the county level, like Cindy says, a lot of cooperation to make it happen. The stormwater side is something the county can't control. It's controlled by Northwest Florida Management, and it's a problem, for whatever it's worth.
I think it's very timely for this board working with y'all to develop those lists as quickly as we can, so we can funnel that into our representatives as they go forth in Tallahassee. We need to be telling them what the obstacles are at the local level. So I think it's very timely.
Let's get rid of DCA is what you want to say?
Thank you.
Consolidate three agencies, DEP, DCA, and Northwest Florida Water Management.
This goes back to the development industry running the state.
Right.
This goes back to why we need to have access to open meetings for entities like Team Santa Rosa, because they're discussing this stuff. What they're discussing is reducing the requirements for stormwater runoff that runs into your garage.
Here we have Team Santa Rosa, an organization that has never held a public meeting that the citizens can go to.
Right.
That is actively lobbying Tallahassee to reduce DCA requirements. Now let me say this. I am no fan of government intervention.
We know.
We all know that.
You know.
But let me tell you something about the DCA. If it were not for the DCA, you would have, just like Deborah said, you would have water in your garage this morning. Okay? The development industry, they go out there, they dig them a hole, they put up their gigantic project, and they cover acres and acres and acres of asphalt. And to heck with you, and let me tell you something, I know some people in the Pace area that have fought, I mean fought, to the point of getting lawyers when another project moves in uphill from them and their property floods every single time it rains.
There's a large box store in the Pace area.
Yes, there is.
And when I was with that community paper, I was actually over there during the heavy rain period, and I actually observed, looked like an 8 or 10 inch black, the corrugated pipeline.
Water shooting out of it.
Snaking over their property and just emptying down Pace Lane. Right. And I was told by neighbors that that particular box store was pumping the water out of their holding pond, which didn't perk correctly.
Right.
Didn't work. And they were never, I don't know what the situation is now, but they had not been forced to correct the problem. And they were pumping the water down the road.
Right.
That's your stormwater issues.
Let me say this. I do believe that probably some streamlining of paperwork is in order, but I am not in favor of reducing the oversight at the state level on large-scale projects.
And you know, I just like to point out, as far as getting rid of DCA at the state level, DCA has been all that has stood between total paving over of the beach,
right,
and a modicum of citizen access to the beach. It was DCA that stopped them from jacking up the occupancy rates on Perdido
right.
Key. They wanted to basically just cram as many as they could in there. And had it not been for the new DCA, the Crist administration DCA, I think they would have got away with it. They would have let them do it. Yeah. And I think this is the complaint now, is that we don't have the Jeb administration DCA. we have a DCA that actually goes out and looks at the wetlands and says, you know, the wetlands are here to, first of all, stop storm surges from inundating people's homes.
The wetlands are important.
And they filter the water that we drink. Yeah. And, you know, maybe we shouldn't drain every single one of them.
Right.
I think we need DCA and DEP up in there.
I think we need them a lot, especially the DEP needs to be a lot stronger than they are. They actually need to take action. They need to follow up their threats with action.
That would be nice.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, the next section is
it's a rarity.
It's near and dear to my heart. Back in since 2004, there has not been a publicly vetted report card, to say, for Team Santa Rosa. And
well, they had a little pamphlet in 2000, full color glossy pamphlet in 2005, but there were no numbers in it.
Yeah, no numbers. The biggest reason that there were no numbers since 2004 is because I challenged their numbers at a public meeting. I was right, they were wrong. Of course, I still have stab wounds in my back from some of their board members calling me names while the camera was rolling, but that's a whole nother story. But we actually got a report card. Now,
should we watch it?
Yeah, let's watch that first,
go ahead and do that.
I'll reserve my comments.
Okay, all right. Roll tape.
We have to face reality in these times that we've had some unfortunate closings and downsizings, and these are some examples of those. There again, working with existing businesses to try to avoid this from happening is one of our objectives. These are, on the other hand, startups and expansions, and most all these things I'm sure you recognize. Some have come in and been highly successful. Some have had ebbs and flows. And then a number of these other entities are, in fact, planning expansions or have expansions underway. Our budget cumulatively the past 4 years has been about $1.9 million. The grant figure I referenced earlier, we've obtained over $3.9 million, almost $4 million. Employment successes, about 850. Direct capital investment, as far as just straight out of the budget, about $66 million total in all these facilities.